Hello and welcome to the very special edition of Paw Racing special event, and granted, due to the amount of people turning up today, you're gonna have a very special treat today, and that is you're gonna watch me race this time around as well, and you're gonna see what the kind of mess that my screen is that racing happens with. So, no worries, it's all good. I don't even know what kind of damage we got. Wonder if damage per chance is not set to 100. I know damage is set at 50, so average damage. And yeah, I still got suspension damage. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Do we really need that? Do we need that at this point? Let's close some of these things. This is the kind of environment that we're racing. Also, hi Anna, how are you doing? Why are you not in the server? Sorry, Simonas. Give me that at the worst possible moment. Danny, you're supposed to be here. Just move the cat. I had to move my cat for my stuff. Damn everyone. It's a fun event. It's event only for fun. I love the WTCC cars. I do certainly hope that at some point we are able to do a full championship with the WTCC cars, because they are phenomenal vehicles and so much fun. Not everyone loves front wheel drive cars, but these cars are awesome, and there is an option for BMW which is competitive. And that's Swami. Welcome, Swami. So technically I could now, given that there is a well, you would have a choice of two different BMWs. I love hot lapping in front wheel drive cars, but now that Swami is here, I could probably relegate myself to pure commentating duties with 10 drivers out here, which I might do. And I will give you the full coverage of the racing that is happening. So you know what, I'm actually going to do that. Well, if we do multi-cars, there will be a more closed setup, which bopping them should be fun. These cars are extremely bopped against one another. It's almost, they are virtually identical to a 10th of a second. So I'm guessing I do want to try a multi-car league again. We had none of them in ages. Top 5 in the last 3 races. And which Ginettas? Or multi-car things. But seeing us, yeah, the last 3 of the Ginettas was very good. But I am not too sure whether this is the mod was it from GT Supreme, I know. But yeah, these WTCC cars are phenomenal. We got the Chevy Lassetti, we got the Alfa Romeo, Seat Leon, BMW, two BMWs in fact, the 320i and 320si. There's very popular BMWs here today. I got 5 BMWs out on track today, 2 Seat Leons. I was in the Peugeot. But extremely wonderful. So let's see what everybody is out doing. Ike Marva currently setting the pace with Replas hot on his heels, just 2 tenths behind with the Alfa Romeo GT 156 GT-A. Closely following behind the Chevrolet Lassettis, Alexander Queiroz and Andrew Bayer in P4 with the BMW. Hopefully Victor is able to join us very soon. And what do we have here? Note the race. But we'll see what happened to Victor Bernard, who was out here racing not just a few moments ago. There's Victor Bernard back again with an Alfa Romeo this time. So Victor Bernard doing a little bit changes of cars in between sessions. So Victor Bernard just inflating the numbers of attendees very slightly for us here today. But while this is, I guess I can bring this this graphic back up. With 2 minutes left on the qualifying. Oh yeah, WTCRs. Quite a different handling cars. These cars are, in my opinion, so much more fun. I'm not sure whether you gave them a go yet, Anno, but Milan Ailing with 127.4. Yes, very much one letter off, but makes such a world of a difference as Milan Ailing brushes the wall once again. Still has time for 2 more laps. No worries, Swami. It'll be all good. 132.7 is not too bad for a banker laps with no practice. Somebody recommended doing touring cars on oval, so we just did a Roval instead. Now you can still join for race 2, kind of like I did for the Fun Cups the other day. And it'd be great fun. Milan Ailing just grinding the walls everywhere he goes. Cup UK. Fun Cup UKs are great. We may do a mini championship in between if we decide to carry on. Ooh, Milan Ailing with an overstay on the entry. But you still have like a... good 3 minutes before we get into race 1 regardless. But yeah, Honda Accord, a little bit easier to control than a BMW, that's for certain. Rear-wheel drive cars definitely require you to be well on throttle. Or very extremely good throttle control. Ben Rushell, however, is making the most out of a 126.163 in a BMW. So Ben Rushworth, Charlotte and the BMW seem to be hooked up with minimal practice. It's already up to P3, just a half a tenth behind Simas Ruplenas, who had a few more laps on the practice server across many different cars. Oh, big sideways action from Ben Rushworth as Swami comes back on. With a Honda Accord to diversify our grid just a little bit more. Alright, Ben Rushworth, you had another lap to go. So Andrew Bayer will take the initiative, and let's see if Andrew Bayer, what can Andrew Bayer do if he can improve up towards the 125s. Nice and tidy through here. Minimum wheel spin. Just barely grazes the wall. Runs up to and cuts back inside onto the low line of oval. Going a little bit below the apron. Naughty, naughty. As we say, you should at least keep above the apron on the blue line. Ah, and there's Danny Tatui joining for race 1. I wouldn't be surprised if I see another BMW joining the grids. Yes, I will be able to restart the sessions. So we will hold for just a few moments in case. Yeah, race 1. I'll try and restart race 1 a few times. If I can. Not if I can. I will be able to. So Andrew Bayer with a 1:26.796. On the last lap, oh, was a 1:34.839. But Andrew Bayer setting his personal best in the BMW. So let's see if he has. Let's see if he has the pace required to finish quite high up. 15, 16 laps. I think you're overestimating it a bit, EK. We have 15-minute races only, so I would say about 10, 12, 13 laps only. Oh, some of our drivers overestimating the amount of time there is. Victor Bernard with a little touch on the wall. Where is Victor Bernard? With a 1:27.139 with the Alfa Romeo, quite matching his pace with the Seat Leon. You're most likely welcome, Ike. I am glad that you are listening to the broadcast. So, as they say, the more the merrier. And there's Anno. Anno has managed to join us just in time with a Seat Leon. Hopefully you will enjoy that. So wait for the countdown. 1.5 minutes. I know in time for race 1 we're gonna have quite the interesting grid. We should have 12 cars coming here, and hopefully we will be able to see how these cars race together, because you know what, everyone, I certainly would love to host these as one of the options for season 5 for sure. A championship with these car variety, it's just something I enjoy. Like, seeing so many different car brands, it just makes, I don't know, it just adds something to the racing myself. Like seeing a Seat go against Alfa, go against BMW, go against Chevy, go against a Peugeot, Vauxhall we have, and the Volvos that were able to be chosen. Certainly a grid to behold that I absolutely just adore. And between the top 3 we have Seat, Alfa, Beamer and a Chevy within half a second of one another between different drivers on minimal practice between all drivers. Really, these drivers didn't have like days to practice with these cars. Some of them have only just jumped in. Ben Rashford had just jumped in with no practice in the most difficult car to drive. The BMW is very sensitive on the throttle, very easy to spin if you have no throttle control. Alexandra having minimal practice as well, and they're still very close to one another. But like I said, we will restart a time mode to... Oh, there's Danny Tatui just in time loading in, and as I said, there's another BMW 320i. One thing I didn't have set up is I do not have... we have a Andrew Bayer leaving for 1 minute, so I will wait for him to try and come back. We will restart for reason or two. No rolling start. I will have to restart because Andrew Bayer has missing. So we will restart the session. This is the starting grid of a Charlotte Roval. So there's Andrew Bayer loading right back in. So once he's back on the grid, should be all too good forward to bat. For the time being, Andrew Bayer loaded into the service. I will do one final restart session. Okay, this will be the final. Fantastic. All right. So we should have no problem here, but given that I was set up for actually racing, I will have to quickly pull myself out of the way. Oh, I could have just not clicked anything and I would have been just fine. Fantastic. Now that I'm off the road, cars will have no problem. Right. Here we go. And the race is pretty much out on the way. No improvised rolling start. We had this in Charlotte in the first ever WTCC season here at Paw Racing. This is what we had to deal with. Now let's see. We have a quite close battle between Andrew Bayer and Alexander Queiroz. Big lockups. You will see this a lot. A lot of drivers will be locking up their front right tires. A lot of smoke will be generated by these drivers. But let's see how the latecomers whether they'll come to like these cars. Oh, this car tried combo. Victor Ben and Andrew Bayer so close to one another. Ooh, there was a little bit of a touch. I think that was mostly on Andrew Bayer squeezing Victor Ben a little bit too much. Well held by Andrew Bayer to maintain control of the car. Milan Ailing in the second BMW, very close by. Now this will be the battle between the Netherlands and the Germans. As we see, Victor Bernard and just edging ahead. Still, Andrew Bayer keeping very close knit with Victor Bernard. We have Anno Arenkas right at the back with a Seat Leon. Something must have happened to him. Mascari Andrews goes and nicks the wall just a little bit too hard. Simas Rupenas maintains second place, and we see this triple gaggle and a battle for top 5 spot. Quite nicely, Milan Ailing with a much better control, less tail slide, has the overspeed, is gonna go high up onto the wall with Andrew Bayer. Let's see if he can make it all the way around. Andrew Bayer with a closer, little bit of a rubbing is racing between the two. We are racing touring cars at the end of the day, so Andrew Bayer late on the brakes. Milan has to go earlier, very much. Unfortunately, oh, but a big wall tap by Andrew Bayer, and Milan Ailing very little time to react. Gives a little bit of a bump draft to, oh, and that's Milan. It's not Milan Ailing. That's, I believe, that's Arno that has been hit. Well, went into the wall as a result of that action. Oh, big slide by Ben Rushford, manages to keep it in. Alexander Queiroz manages to slip on pie to P3, but Ben Rushford under pressure from Victor Bernard, who is taken to these cars like fish to water, it seems. So already pressuring 4th place, keeps a nice inside line. Ooh, runs, gives enough space for Ben Rushford. Ben Rushford running high up to the wall to maintain 4th position. And we see Andrew Bayer very low, below the line where it should be. And we see battles up the back, Arno, and we have the newcomer Swami in the Honda Accord. Corey Andrews. Oh, a little bit of a touch from Arno and Swami are on just not enough space, and Danny Tutui is onto the side, recovering from the spin. And we see Ike Maraver for some reason needs to pull into the pits. What happened to Ike Maraver to pull into the pits? So that means Simas Rupelas takes the lead of the race. Victor Bernard has spun out and has put himself in a very unfortunate position. So we will have to look and see what Victor Bernard does. It was a collision with another driver. So Simas Rupelas leads. Ike Marve went into the pits for one reason or another. We have a disconnect from Victor Bernard, clearly not happy about what has transpired in the race. But let's move back onto the action on track. More crashes with environment. Ike Marve rubbing the walls again. Danny Tutui himself rubbing the walls, and 1 second behind, and has Ike Marve behind him, who has been very quick with these cars. So will Corey Andrews make a move? No, he don't. Danny Tutui with an extreme late braking into the chicane. That's not the correct way to go about it, if you ask me. That's going to cost him position to Ike Marve. Granted, a little bit of time has been caught up, but not much. So let's move on to the battle for first place, as Alexander Kairos is pressuring Simas Rupelas. Simonas, who relishes usually in these special events and these mini championships. That's where he brings his best, it seems, is in these small events, as we saw in the last special event, as Coriandros and Arno and Ika swap places, and we have a massive line of cars here. Wherever you see, there's a different manufacturer. We have a BMW, we have a Seat, we have an Alfa, we have another BMW, we have Honda Accord right behind it all as well. And on the top two different car makers battling it all out. Oh, and Danny Tutui with a big slide. Danny Tutui not having the most fun with these cars, it seems. Or still trying to figure out how the Ascari Andrews himself ends up with a half spin. So that crash, yeah, that seems to have just been a self-inflicted spin. So it looks like a little bit more finesse and seat time is required to master the rear-wheel driven BMWs. Currently occupying 3rd, 4th and 5th places. They are certainly the most popular of the brands for this event, it seems. Most drivers themselves seem to prefer rear-wheel driven cars to front-wheel driven cars. As Danny Tutui again with a half spin, just still trying to get more seat time in the cars. So let's stick with the battle for the lead. We're halfway through the first race. As I quickly forgot to say that I am streaming. And really need to... Oh, it looks like Alexander had a little bit of a mistake here and there. That has allowed Simonas Rupelas to get away and set the fastest lap time so far, 1:25.944. As Ben Rushforth now goes even faster with 1:25.850. So Ben Rushforth might not still be too far away from it all, or could bring himself into contention. Oh no, with an 8.5 second gap. That might be a little bit of a far-fetched thing. Danny Tatui pulls into the pits, most likely to wait out the remainder of the race. Now, I did set up the server to be a reverse top 10 grid as Alexandra. Now it's time for Simonas to make a little bit of a mistake, as Alexandra closed up from 1.1 second to just 0.4 of a second. So it's an Alpha versus a Chevy, it's an Italian versus an American, it's a Lithuanian driver versus a Portuguese driver. God, this is why I love multiple manufacturer racing. It's so entertaining to see different cars go head to head against one another. Oh, and Simonas replies with a big slide. That's going to allow Alexandra a clear way through. There's nothing. You might as well just open the door and say, here you go, sir. You may as well take it. Oh, Simonas have put himself a lot of work, leading for almost 10 minutes as Milan Elling now puts the fastest lap of the race. Milan Elling is settling into these cars quite nicely himself. It's a very big shame that we had a DNF from Victor Bernard after an incident. I would have certainly loved to see what he could have came up with this. Hello Dave, how are you doing? Fancy meeting you here, and why are you not racing? WTCC cars. Oh, and a little bit of a touch from Simas Rupelas, and it has come much worse for much worse for the Lithuanian driver. That's going to allow Alexandra to just nip away much quicker, and I have no idea what Danny Tatui has been doing there a little bit, but if Alexandra can just keep his nose clean, he should be able to take first race win. Well, I'm very happy that you have been advertised. Thank you for that lovely ad revenue. You guys are the reason how Let's Paw Racing is still going. You pay for our server hosting and everything else. As Danny Tatui throws in the towel and calls it quits for now. Ben Rashforth again takes back fastest lap of the race with a 1:25.602. He's not saying yet. I have seen that Victor is very sad. You could always give it a go in second race. I did give a warning to Andrew Bayer about using the apron. I will give him again post race to make sure he's not using the apron. But Ike Marave on a recovery drive, who said? But yeah, as I said, apparently there's been a little bit of a collision between Andrew Bayer and the Andrew Bayer. So let's stay on board with this a little bit, as Milan Elling seems to have made a little bit of a mistake, has lost 1.6 seconds to Ben Rashworth, and what can I say? Again, Andrew Bayer using the apron, definitely words that will be spoken to him post-race. Post-race, it's not the fastest way around the oval, and second, is definitely exceeding a little bit of a track limit. Danny Tatui decided to switch himself onto a Seat Leon instead. So Danny Tatui joining the Spanish. But as we said, Ben Rashworth with only 5.6 seconds behind lead. I reckon in the reverse grid, in the next race, Ben might be in the prime position to take back that lead. But Ike Marave eyeing up P5. What we said before, Ike Marave was leading the race from the get-go, but for some reason he decided to pull into the pit. So we will definitely see in the chat whether for whatever reason did Ike decide to pull into the pits. Whether he had a drive-through, that is certainly a possibility that Ike had a drive-through and may have just jumped the start just a little bit. So that is a possibility. As Andrew Bayer just goes flying into under the water, and I think Andrew Bayer has been disconnected for another technical issue. We've seen this at the start, that's why we had a few race restarts. So Ike Marva takes P5 with no real issue, it seems. But Alexandra seems to be just cruising for a race 1 win. I believe he's got 2 more laps remaining. Simas Rupelas is only at has caught up by a 10th. He's 2.1 seconds back. I don't think he'll be making it. I do not think that Simas has the speed necessary. Not to say he's slow. He has been setting the pace the entire race in the Alfa Romeo of his, but so has Alexandra. They're both evenly matched. And I don't think, unless Alexandra makes a mistake, I don't think any of them will be closing each other in the final moments of the race. As Andrew Bayer returns back. Yes, Dave, you really need to co-commentate. Next weekend we're racing in Genetis once again. You should definitely come stop by next Saturday. Oh, do you know what? If you really want to, you could come commentate race 2 with me right now. You're always unavailable. God damn it, Dave. You break my heart. You break my heart, Dave. But if you're up for it now, Dave, you can feel free to jump into the commentary booth and you could commentate race 2 with me. But as we're coming back, Corey Andrews on the back of Swami. Right there, he's gonna make a move into the Shank. Who's late in the brakes? Swami a little bit late in the brakes. As Ben Rushworth, 1:25.390. That is a amazing lap time from Ben Rushworth. And it seems like Simas closed up just a little bit more. Alexandra having a little bit more mistakes. Alexandra maybe just trying it too safely, allowing Simas to close up. He is already half a second up on the Portuguese driver. Will we see last minute racing for the lead? Oh, you have to wait for the remainder of the race. At the moment, the closest battle on hand is between Corey Andrews and Swami. It's between BMW and Honda. It's England versus Czech Republic. It's the Euros. Well, I would say Euros once again, but it does feel like Euros. As Anno has a little bit of a off moment. And Corey Andrews lines up alongside. A little bit of a touch between the two, but it looks like Andrews has the inside line and makes his way by Swami, but Swami hangs it around the outside. Can he make the switch back? It's a very awkward corner, especially with front-wheel drive cars. That corner really does wash you wide, and you have to sacrifice a lot of speed to take the inside line, but Corey Andrews takes P7 from Swami. But as we move back to the lead, Alexandra takes win in race 1 of this 2-race win. Simas Rupelas takes P2. Oh, what could have been if he didn't have that massive sideways moment into the chicane. Ben Rushworth takes P3 with a fastest lap to boot. I believe so as well. Milan Ailing takes P4. Ike Marva will come across P5. Arno will take P6. A good result for the French driver. Seems to have taken much better liking to these front-wheel drive driven magnificent machines. Corey Andrew will come across P7 with Swami in P8. Arno will sit in the pits for P9, and so will Andrew Bayer. And 2 Danny Tutuis and a Victor Bernat to boot. So that concludes race 1 as the 2 BMWs of Milan Elling, P3, P4, celebrating together, reversing along the track. But don't go anywhere. There is still race 2, and we'll have top 10 grid reversed. So it will most likely be Anno on pole with Alexandra starting P9. And you can go from backwards, given that Andrew Bayer unfortunately did not finish the race on track, will start in P10. So I think it will be Anno on pole with Swami P2. Andrews Arno 3-4, Ike Marava 5, Elling 6, Rushworth will take 7th, 8th for the Planets, and Alexandra Queiroz will take 9th place in the reverse grid. The context here, Dave, the context is here, we're just having fun. That is the only context. So, as we wait for the countdown to begin, so we could have more racing once again. There we go. One more thing I do have to say is I need to go into chat. There we go. So that should be decent. But hey, not too bad for yourself though, Swami. P8 is still a good result. You still have another second race and you will be lining up second on the grid. But there's been some very close racing between everybody here, it seems. Let's have a look at the fastest lap times. The fastest lap times are very close between one another. The top 5, the fastest lap times are within 6/10 of one another. 126 from Alexandra, 126 from Ike, 125.7 from Simonas and Milan, as well as 125.4 from Ben Rushforth, setting the absolute fastest lap time. So that is the racing here together. Victor, if you're still listening, do you want to give it another go? If you want to say, I will restart the server until you get yourself up into the race, if you feel like it. But indeed, Ben Rushforth has truly been being the true pace setter here today, mind you. Really, 125.4. Ben Rushforth went 3 times faster than anyone on their fastest lap attempt. So if Ben Rushforth a few more laps beforehand, you would be P1 easy. So here we go. The race starts as I have to put myself back into the pits before the race starts, and then I can move myself back to what the racing is. So lights should go up and the lights are out, and let's carry back on. People making it through the chicane very nicely. Let's look further back. Oh, we already have a four wide situation going here. A little bit of a rubbing between the drivers. ACTV has come back very nicely, and that will just sort itself out eventually as we see who is that going. Is that another drive-through penalty for another driver? So you see Masrupalan as a favourite for a race win, if you ask me. About Ben Rushforth is my bet here, but if he can keep it on the road, keep it nice and clean, I think Ben Rushforth has the pace needed to absolutely dominate this second race. Right, Corey Andrew up next. Down the inside he goes. Nice and clean move. Stays inside. Gives away enough space. And who is that spinning? I think that's Anno spinning off on his own. That's another free position for Ben Rushworth. He's already up to P3, and it's a big slap for Ben Rushworth. He's gonna hit the wall, just avoids the wall, but that's not gonna help his lap time. A little bit too zealous. Ooh, big touch from Corey Andrews, and it forces Simas Ruplanas to slow down massively as well. Now let's get rid of the chat so you don't see that popping up. But Milan Ailing leads as Swami attacking Milan Ailing. Oh, just a little bit, leaves the braking just a little bit too late. And Milan Ailing takes race win as Ben Rushworth tries and still retake third place. But Alexandra, race 1 victory is not enough for him. He wants 2 races in a row. He's going for the move and moves himself by Ben Rushworth with a much better exit. But here comes the chicane later on the brakes for Alexandra. Ben takes a very much more conservative approach. Ooh, a little bit of a tail waggle there. As Ike Marave, so it looks like another drive-through for him. Ooh, big hit for Swami. Somehow manages to avoid hitting more drivers as Corey Andrews eyes Swami up once again in a repeat of next move. As Danny Tutui seems to be taking to front-wheel drive cars more, as much as he says he doesn't like them too much. Both Swami, Corey Andrews and Andrew Bayer going extremely wide, and Danny Tutui is up to P4 with Simas Ruplanas. Ooh, very much up to another places. Ben Rushworth retakes second from Alexandra. Now, can Ben show the pace he had in race 1 to pull away from Alexandra to make his way by Milan Elling? Milan not a slow driver himself. He has shown a good pace in the previous race as Simonas is eyeing up Danny Tutui for 4th place into the chicane. Who's late on the brakes? Oh, Danny Tutui. A big tail waggle from Danny Tutui. He's gonna be forced to give up that position in my eyes. And we're gonna see side by side into the chicane. Ben Rushworth has much more speed, it seems, but I think he's holding back. I think it's a much how do I put it, clever idea to put himself slightly behind as Danny Tutui sets the fastest lap of the race, albeit with a little bit of interesting addition of track limits. But can be said, Danny Tutui is up for a hand for a 3rd place at the moment. It's already pressuring Alexandra. Ooh, goes very shallow into the turn number 3 there. That's not going to do him any good. In fact, has done him quite the opposite. A disservice. That's the word I'm looking for. It's done him quite a disservice for that half move there. Look at Alexandra reeling Ben Rushworth in. Manages to keep much better as Danny Tutui graces the wall once again. Alexandra managed to keep much tighter line and put the power more effectively, surprisingly more effective than rear-wheel drive cars. Ben Rushworth keeps ahead, side by side through there. Ooh, just barely between one another, just a little bit of a touch between these two, but nothing lost, nothing gained as Ike Marave tries to make his way by Corey Andrews, who just has no lag and not the greatest way of moving around. And Alexandra will try again around the outside into the chicane. Ooh, so much late on the brakes. Is Alexandra side by side? Will they go? They will make it. Oh, they just about make it. Oh, there's a big wall touch between Alexandra, Ben, and Danny Tutui, all touching walls. And Danny Tutui in the pits for some reason. So Simas Ruplanas up to P5. I'm not sure why Danny Tutui is in the pits, whether he's been teleported by... Oh, as Ben Rushworth tries to make a move on Alexandra again to retake that 2nd place. This is all playing into the hands of Milan Ailing, who is just going to be pulling away. He's now 4 seconds ahead. And Milan Ailing as well, currently holding the fastest lap with a 1:25.5. Very much almost as quick as Ben Rushworth went in race 1. But we are seeing an excellent battle for the podium places. Andrew Bayer right there in the hunt for podium places. Simas Ruplanas looking to make amends for that first race to see if he can close the gap Ooh, very much wide. That's not how you close up the gap, my friend. And it looks like Ben Rushforth settles in behind Alexandra, 0.8 of a second. And Alexandra will go ahead and try and start reeling. In fact, he is reeling. Oh, and what's happening there? A little bit of a interesting internet moments there. I'm not sure whose internet connection that is. That might be Ben Rushforth's internet connection itself that is causing that, and that has caused Andrew Bayer to very much, unfortunately, race be relegated. And Ben unfortunately has to be moved outside of the track. Very unfortunately for Ben, a pace setter in race 1 had to be relegated through no fault of his own. A very, very sad outcome of events. Very, any way you put it, it's always a sad sight to see one driver's race being destroyed by internet connection and the driver who's effectively not doing anything wrong being punished for it. Very much unfortunate, but I guess that's how it goes with racing in real life as well, especially when you have like a engine problem. More crash with Milan Ailing, and Alexandra goes even faster, 1:25.365. So if you thought that the BMW was just quick, just for being a rear-wheel drive car, Alexandra is proving otherwise, matching the pace that Ben Rushforth set in the race prior. Andrew Bayer not calling it quits just here, reloads himself back in and back into the fight. That is the kind of tenacity and that we love to see, and dedication. Never say never, you never know what might happen. Well, at the end of the day, these special events are for fun, to try out new cars, try out new tracks, new everything basically, as Alexandra is still reeling Milan in. Milan was half a second slower in that first sector. Alexandra catching up, so we could still have a battle for first place. At the moment, we still have a battle for third place. Very unfortunate for Andrew for disconnecting. He did seem like he was getting on pace, getting pretty quick with that BMW of his. Could have been a real podium contender, as we see the battle between Simas and Ike matching each other 10th for 10th. So we're going to be quickly watching the lap times. Let's hop on board for a little moment with Simonas and see how the drivers see it, or how drivers experience this racetrack. Not the lap for Milan Ailing. Alexandra now just under 1 second now away from being a double race winner. So Simonas falling back slightly. Simonas, Ike actually doing a personal best sector, half a second faster than what Simonas was able to do. But again, Milan just not having the pace needed. A little bit of beef in the chat, one might say. So what is the race? Ike Marva 1:25.4, going just half a tenth slower than what Alexandra was able to do in the race. So The lap times are going down even more as the drivers get more and more comfortable in their respective cars. They're getting quicker and quicker, and the lap times are getting more and more consistent. And look at Alexandra reeling in. Milan is now under 0.8 of a second. Alexandra with a much better exit, it seems, than Milan has. Now this is a Euro finals you would love to see. It's Portugal versus Holland. It's Chevrolet versus BMW. Front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive. Bit of a wiggle from Milan on the way in. Much cleaner from Alexandra. Can he get the power down more or better even? And it seems to be like the neck and neck. Alexandra just slightly faster through that banked corner. 3 more laps remain, mind you. Only 3 more laps remain. Could be less. I reckon with the pace they're going, this will be 3 more laps indeed. Look at that. 4/10 faster than Milan. Oh, we're going to have race right to the end for first place. As Simas closes in on Ike for the final podium place. So we have battle for first. We have battle for third. We have BMW, Chevy, Seat, Alfa, Honda, BMW and Seat. And an Alfa still in the race. Each car displaying an equal level of competency on the track. Each car displaying an equal level of capabilities. Only half a second now. Much better exit. Much closer than last time around. What is the deficit now? Milan actually going 2/10 faster on that previous sector. But Alexandra catches him up by 3/10 and a big slide from Milan Ailing. Can Alexandra sneak his way by? Alexandra muscles his way by Milan Ailing in a true touring car fashion. But it's Milan Ailing with the slipstream now. Milan choosing to go much lower. Alexandra going extremely high. Will that very much sacrifice him? Ooh, a little bit of a touch from Milan. Ooh, another little touch from Milan to Alexandra. But all that did is just push Alexandra even faster across the start-finish line. We are now entering... Oh, this could be the final lap of the race. Nip and touch literally against one another. Can Milan close the gap up once again? How is this NASCAR racing? This is peak touring car racing. We are in America after all. It's only correct that we add a little bit of American flavor. Oh, Alexandra goes extremely wide. Milan Ailing capitalizes the opportunity. Goes deep in. Very wide out. But can Alexandra muscling his way. Trying to muscle his way by it now. Bit more aggressive touring car. And we see a little bit more... a little bit more NASCAR. A little bit more demolition derby from Alexandra. Trying to muscle his way on by. I just didn't pan out this time. Will we see another similar action into the chicane that we did last time? Alexandra goes very wide. Milan goes very defensive. Oh, just within track limits, I would say. By our definition, Alexandra will get a little bit of a better exit. This will go to the final chicane. And I don't think we will get another lap time. Had these guys not slowed each other out too much. Alexandra on the high. Going high. Around the outside, using more speed, has the better speed. Oh, Milan Ailing later on the brakes. Will he take the race? Can he go just behind? There is one more lap. We have one more lap. This is now the white flag. And we go one more lap of racing. So nothing's over just yet. Just as the timer was ticking down to 0, Milan crosses the line just before. Alexandra not allowing him to go. Alexandra not allowing him to slow down to end the race earlier. But Alexandra has to keep it clean if he hopes to win that final... this race too and make it 2 for 2. Simas Rupelas still a second away, but Ike just seems to be doing just enough to keep Rupelas for P3. Can Alexandra close the gap? It's now 0.9 of a second. Or did Alexandra just relax for a little bit moment, thinking the race was over, and has to get back into the rhythm once again? Regardless, it's Milan Ailing with 0.8 of a second. 8 tenths of a second advantage. Alexandra later on the brakes. Milan has to be very cautious on the exits. Rear-wheel drive cars, you cannot afford to floor it out of these. Alexandra can just turn the car and floor it. Use the understeer to carry himself out. Carry a little bit more speed. Closes in 2 tenths of a second, 3 tenths of a second. But I don't think Alexandra is close enough to mount any sort of offense. Milan ailing, if he can just make it through the final chicane without sliding the car a little bit too wide, too close on the track limits, takes race to win. Here at Charlotte Roval, Ika takes P3, Simas P4. Alexandra will have to be satisfied with a second place. This was peak touring car action, if you ask me. And in fact, it did seem like we have added a little bit of American flair into it as well. Swami will take P5, Corey Andrews will come across in P6, Arno will take P7, and Arno will take P8. Windmill reverse 1-2 with a 7-8. But unfortunately we had a few losses in Ben Rushworth, Andrew Bayer, Danny Tui, and Victor Bernard, and very shame that we actually lost. That Andrew Bayer was had good pace to make midfield and even podium. Andrew Bayer had the pace to go for the podium and make it a three-way fight. Ben Rushworth, who set the pace in the first race, unfortunately had to be relegated for internet connections, and such a sad shame for Ben, who held the fastest lap in the first race, and if I'm not mistaken could have the overall fastest lap time if Alexandra did not beat him. This would literally go down to hundreds of a second, not even tenths of a second. But by God, this was quite a good event, and touring cars always provide. And honestly, I certainly hope that this has turned a few more people to vote for these cars for season 5 when we come to do it, because I was looking forward to seeing more WTCCs, these kind of cars, touring cars, in races, in more, for more proper championship, kind of like what we did with BTC in season 1. But that is everything for me today. Hope you have enjoyed this race, especially race 2. That final moments were fantastic racing. Regardless, we will see you next week Saturday, where the Ginetta World Tour comes back and goes to Austria. But we're not going to Red Bull Ring. We are going to Salzburg Ring, a lesser known Austrian track that has featured on touring cars before, and I reckon it should provide a very, very good show. Very sad I couldn't attend Bikenika last time, because it looked like it was a race filled with drama, albeit much cleaner racing from vast majority of people, and that's what we love to see. Danny is already investigating how he can take the rear wing off, so you can definitely see what to expect from Salzburg Ring. Regardless, I certainly hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next week. And I will leave you with some synthwave music for about 5 minutes post race as a cool down. Take care, everyone, and I will certainly see you next week. Even more so, I hope to see you in the next special event that will be organized by our in-house Spanish duo, and you should definitely look out for that as well. Take care.
the off chance that an off night in the sidelands might lead me to the road.